Okay, so we've looked at front sheet, time's ticking away now, so we're ready to go. Okay, section A, so core technical principles. These are all the theory type principles that we looked through, specifically in year 10, and obviously revisited, or will revisit for revision at the end of year 11. So questions 1 to 10 are multiple choice questions. For multiple choice questions, you should shade in one lozenge. So these are the little lozenges, so this oval within the rectangle. So just shade in, as it says, the lozenge, as they call it. So if you make a mistake, cross through the incorrect answer and shade the correct response. So make sure you understand what to do if you think you've got it wrong. Don't just go scribbling around. They're asking you to do a specific thing here. So question 1. A designer has created a security system for use in a home. The system is intended to alert the homeowner to an intruder. What is the input in this system? Okay, so let's look through. We've got an alarm sound, an automatic message sent to a mobile phone, a flashing light, and a motion sensor. So I'm looking for something that goes into the system to make it work. Now, let's have a think. So alarm sound, that's something that's going to come out of the system. So I know that's an output rather than an input. Similar here, an automatic message sent to a mobile phone, that's something that's coming out of the system rather than going in. So I think that's more output than input. Flashing light, again similar to an alarm sound. And motion sensor, we've got to move motion, so it's an input to then make something like this happen. So as you've seen already, I've marked this down as my answer. Don't be fooled at these questions just because there are only 1 mark. So here is where the marks will be shown. Don't be fooled that just because it's 1 mark it's going to be an easier question. I often find, particularly in mock exams, that students have rushed through what they think are the easier, quick questions and missed out on up to 10 marks here, which could be a couple of grade boundaries for you. So really do take your time. If you're not sure, process of elimination, think logically about what it's asking for. So this was specifically an input, and then look at what they are, okay, before you give your answer. And again, just because it's 1 mark doesn't mean it doesn't matter. They really do count when they start to add up. So I've done an example here of when I've thought I've got it wrong. So I've thought about this. So figure 1 shows a stool. When a person sits on a stool, what is the main force on the stool leg? So kind of stool that you might see in somebody's kitchen. I've drawn an arrow, so the force coming down here is downwards, isn't it? It's kind of squeezing it down. So compression, shear, tension and torsion. Now I marked tension originally because I thought that was a force going sort of together, that kind of tension. It wasn't until I realised that shear was, I remember that as the scissors motion, which doesn't apply here. Torsion is a twist, so that's not happening here. There's no twist. Tension, I couldn't decide between compression and tension, and it wasn't until I thought of, actually it was compression socks that my dad had worn on a flight. He was complaining that they were too tight, so it was that reminded me about the squeezing, the compression. So that made me think about the stool being squashed here. Now I put tension down originally, but if you remember, it said cross through the incorrect answer like this, and then shade the correct one. So make it very clear and do exactly what they say. If you think you've got it wrong, perhaps this is a question you go back to at the end and you've suddenly realised. Okay, so make sure you do what it says. Right, question 3. Here we go. So, which one of the following statements is true? Okay, so we're looking for a true statement. Right, balsa is a natural material used in model making. I've heard of balsa. Is it a natural material? Let's check the others first. Medium density fiberboard is a man-made material. Now I know that's true. We've used MDF in the workshop. It's a manufactured board, commonly used for outdoor furniture. I don't think it was appropriate for outdoor furniture. It doesn't like getting wet, so I don't think that's correct. Silk is a man-made material used in the textiles industry. I'm pretty sure I've seen silkworms creating the silk for this. I don't think it's man-made, so I think that's false. And urea-formaldehyde is a natural material used to manufacture electrical sockets. Well, I know that electrical sockets are made out of plastic, so this is the sort of plastic, obviously, I think, that it's made of, in which case it's definitely not a natural material. So it's not that one. That one's false, and that one's definitely false, because I know it can't be used for outdoor furniture. Balsa is a very light but hard wood, and it's used in model making. But again, process of elimination, I know that they're wrong, in which case that one must be right. Question 6. So, what is the definition of a smart material? Right, I know and I remember that a smart material is something that reacts to its environment. So let's see. Material that can hold data. A material that can withstand excessive force. A material that reacts to change in the environment. Right, that's it. Material that shrinks when heated. Right, I already knew that about smart materials, so I'm definitely going with C. I know it's something like thermochromic paint, so that would react to heat and therefore its environment. Okay, question 7. Designers often create products that they know will have a limited lifespan. What is this called? Design for disassembly? Well, that's taking something apart. That's got nothing to do with lifespan here. Design for maintenance. Maintenance is to keep something going. So that's not a limited lifespan, is it? Planning for manufacture. Or manufacture means making, so it can't be to do with that. Planned obsolescence. I remember talking about this, so I'm pretty sure it's planned obsolescence. So this is planning for something becoming obsolete. If something's going to become obsolete, it has a limited lifespan, so I'm going with D. And I've just realised as well, we've gone through the questions in the wrong order, so let's go back. Again, don't stress too much. Now, I've done this on purpose here, but if you've suddenly discovered that it's taken you, 10 minutes to get through a section that probably should have taken you about 20 minutes, go back and check. Okay, so we're going back to question 3 here. Which of the following metals should not be used outdoors without a protective coating of a different material? So aluminium alloy, copper, low carbon steel, zinc. Now I know that steel is a ferrous metal. Okay, it's likely to rust, so it definitely needs a protective coating. I'm going with C. Okay, question 4. Which one of the following is a production method based on providing stock as it is needed? So this is filling shelves or whatever it is when the people need to use it. So computer aided manufacture, CAM, that's like the plotter cutter in T4, so it's machines that make stuff. It's definitely not that. Flexible manufacturing, I guess it could be. Flexible is about providing stock when it's needed, maybe. Integrated manufacture, I've never heard of that, so maybe, but possibly not. Just-in-time manufacturing, well, I remember talking about this in business studies as well. So providing stock as it is needed, just in time, that's a similar statement, isn't it? I guess it could be flexible manufacturing, but I've not heard of that one, and I've definitely heard of that one in business, so I'm definitely going with D. Okay, so question 9 then. So diagram below shows movement of a lever which is part of a toy. The distance from point A to the pivot is 10 mil, so I've written this in here just to remind me. Distance from point B to the pivot is 40 mil, so I've jotted that in. So point A moves 10 millimeters to the right, so So over here, so this is when you're going to need your ruler. So 10 mil is obviously 1 centimetre. So I'm going to jot down in there. How far would point B move to the left? So you could, if you look at this kind of visually, if that's moving, so if that's a fixed pivot here, if we keep that in line and we move everything around here to that 10 mil, we know it's roughly going to be there. So I'm going to sketch in here with my pencil, okay, and draw a line in. So I'm just going to quickly measure here then across the top. So I've got 4 centimetres here, so 40 millimetres. I guess what you could do also is just kind of check. So we've got 10, 20, 40, 50. I mean, that looks right, but if you weren't sure, jot in where the 50 would be, where the 10 would be and the 20 would be, and see if that looks right. Okay, so we definitely know we've got a fixed pivot here, so it's not going to move, it's a straight line. If I move to the 10, then that doesn't move point A 10 mil across, it moves it to about there. If we move it to the 20, that definitely doesn't move it over to the 10 mil here. If we move it over to the 40, we've kind of already worked that out, and if we moved it over to the 50, then the dot would be over here, so that's more than 10 mil. So again, just going back to check, I worked it out first time round, but I'm not sure, I can have a little play around, work it out. I'm pretty sure that my first guess here makes that gap 40 millimetres. And I'll put in my response here. Okay, on to question 10, and the last one now for the multiple choice. So which one of the following is a soft wood? Right, I definitely remember doing this. So I know that beech is a hardwood, I know that mahogany is a hardwood, I know that oak is a hardwood. So by process of elimination, even though I do know that spruce is a softwood, I can confidently mark down spruce as the answer. Okay, so questions 1 to 10, that's all the multiple choice questions done. We're going to move on to the rest of section A in the next video.